Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com. Welcome back, Washington, D.C. Metro, to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. Quick reminder, Real Estate 360 is designed to build Washington, D.C. Metro's housing and credit markets one house at a time. If you ever have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to us is 877-245-2030. It's 877-245-2030. Whether, you've been battling with your bank trying to get a loan modification through and have been unsuccessful, through the show and the many partners of the show, we have people that you can speak with to try to solve your situation. It might not always be what the outcome that you want, but at the end of the day, we have a way to make sure that you're not going to potentially ruin your credit for years down the road. And ultimately, we just want to see you get back on your feet as fast as possible and get yourself back in a position where you might be able to buy a home again if you have to go through with a short sale. But by going through with a short sale, you are avoiding foreclosure. Sometimes, if you're unable to get that loan modification through, sometimes the best answer is a short sale in that situation. So, case by case, it really is different from one person to the next. Everybody's financials is different. Everybody's situation is different. There's, tons of hardships out there. As I've discussed on the show, many people feel like, a hardship is like a death in the family or a job loss or a relocation, but in many instances it's not. It's just as simple as, you took a pay cut and now your qualifying ratios aren't where they were when you originally took out that loan, and that can be considered a hardship. Best advice I have for you guys is to reach out to us, 877-245-2030, 877-245-2030, or via the web at realestate360live.com. There's an Ask a Question button on the right-hand side. Click that. Be glad to get back in touch with you guys. I want to jump into this week's Market Movers. This segment was brought to you by HomeGain. HomeGain is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com today to see what I'm talking about. All you have to do is type in your home's address, and you'll get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. It's a great way to monitor your home's value, and it's totally free. So check that out today at HomeGain.com. So as we discussed in the previous segment, I just want to go over the things for this week. Like I said, the Fed will meet on Tuesday, and on Wednesday afternoon they will issue their policy statement. So that's something that we definitely need to look forward to. And on next week's show, we'll give a breakdown of what that policy statement was, and did they decide to do anything with QE3, or did they give language of what they're going to do and coming up in September, if not anything at all. So a lot of people are at least Wall Street is anticipating that there's going to be some sort of language. So we're going to have to hold tight on that. Then on Thursday, the European Central Bank will meet. And at the end of this week, I believe it's on Friday, will be the July employment report.
Actually, Thursday will be the continuing claims, and then the unemployment report will be on Friday.
Correct. Yes, continuing claims on Thursday. Friday will be the July unemployment report. Early estimates are calling for private job growth of 105,000, with the unemployment rate unchanged at 8.2%. Once again, these numbers, they don't necessarily mean too much because of the amount of different statistics that they count and don't count. I really don't think that the employment situation's changed much. If not, it's probably worsened. So all in all, guys, this is just a big week. I really think that, like I said, it's better to be cautious here. I would definitely, if you've got a mortgage professional you're speaking with, definitely call them up and find out when you're going to close, and maybe, getting that interest rate locked in now might be your smartest play. Wanted to transition to, there is a new kind of bill that's floating around Congress right now that is a HARP-like refinance plan, and I kind of wanted to bring it to your attention because it's one of the first bills that actually address the need for a program that does not involve somebody having a current Fannie Mae loan, Freddie Mac loan, or an FHA loan, which is basically all government-backed, for help for those people that have been making their payments for however long, with the last 12 months to 5 years to 6 years. This Rebuilding American Homeownership is the name of the plan. What it is like I said, it's going to be for the millions of homeowners that are not backed by one of the above four agencies, which are Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, or USDA. Now, under this proposed refinance program, all homeowners who are current on their existing mortgage and who meet ordinary underwriting criteria would be eligible for new prescribed mortgage rates. Now, the kicker there is ordinary underwriting criteria. What does that mean? Well, I would assume that it means that you got to give up your tax returns, your W-2s, your pay stubs. You're going to have to go through what would be the normal underwriting process. So I have a feeling that that language right there would rule out 3/4 of the people, because if you had a job loss, or you took out a stated income loan when you originally bought that house, or a no-doc loan, or whatever it was, now all of a sudden if you're forced to go full documentation where you have to show your income and you're self-employed, it's not going to work. So I don't understand why they continue to try to draft bills like this. At the end of the day, it makes it look like they're trying to help the consumer, and it's not doing anything. It's really not doing anything. The majority of these government programs that come out there, they help such a select few. You have to hit 15 different criteria and parameters that it's almost, where it's set up to the fact that it's just more of a marketing ploy than anything else. They want it to seem like that they're trying to help people, but at the end of the day, they don't. They don't. And should this happen, in certain instances, I feel like that a modification would make sense. Now, obviously, the bank is a for-profit business, and they need to make money. So if somebody's at 6%, they're not going to just loan out money at 4%. Because now the value of the home's lost $100,000 because they just say, hey, well, if the person's been paying on time now, why would I consider lowering their interest rate down when they've been paying and never missed a payment? But what's happened is through all the media, the robo signings and all the loan modifications, everything that we hear out there, it's everybody feels like that they're entitled to a lower interest rates, which is why the different people in Congress keep trying to push out these new bills. To fund these mortgages, the Rebuilding American Homeownership Program would rely on a refinance trust, which would be backed by the U.S. government and funded via bond sales. The prescribed mortgage rates would be sufficiently low to make sure that people would want to refinance, but high enough to, kind of mitigate some of the risk that's there. And they were proposing a call for a 2% spread between the bond yields and the consumer mortgage rates, which would help the program to be profitable. And they said that the trust is expected to pay for itself and turn a profit without having to use the U.S. taxpayer dollars. Lewis, that's a lot of stuff going on there. I don't think that this is going to be a feasible plan for people, nor do I think Congress is going to actually pass this plan. You're basically asking, the government once again to backstop the entire mortgage market. They already own probably 50-60% of it now. So we don't want to keep meddling in. The whole problem we have is that there's so much government intervention in these private, which at one point were private businesses that are now, basically government run. The entire mortgage market. I mean, before long, it could be the entire real estate market is run by the government.
You've already got all the student loans, the banks. I mean, basically, the government is involved with those. And when the government tries to use social policy, when it runs up against economic policy, there's a disaster. I mean, we saw that in the housing bubble where they want everybody to get into a house, so they create all these programs to get people into the houses. And then when the people can't pay, there's a problem. Well, they never should have created those programs to get everybody into the houses. And now they're trying to get everybody out from underneath the debt situation that they caused.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about that too is, Lewis, is that, so the media picks up on all these things and it's pushed out there. So, my job is to go out there and investigate it and try to find out what's legitimate, what's not. But all the time I have listeners say, hey, I heard you talk about that HARP, 2.0, HARP 3.0. I think I meet that criteria, it sounds good. Well, for the most part, you can probably go down one or two of the first criteria, they meet those. But by the time you get down to number 10 or 15, it doesn't apply to them anymore. So overall, I do want to help the people that they meet all the criteria and they're able to take advantage of this. But as a rule of thumb, I mean, it's probably, like a half of 1% is going to actually be able to do anything with these. Now, it sounds great. It sounds like, they're trying to do things to really, help people. I did see that this plan was endorsed by economists at NAR, the National Association of Realtors. Of course, they want to get behind anything that's going to support, home ownership.
Exactly.
So that, that's not a surprise. Is this good overall, though, for, they're basically going to have to backstop these losses somehow for private lenders? Where is that money coming from? So you can't tell me that, they're going to be willing to just say, hey, we'll go ahead and subsidize a portion of this loss to refinance the person, or it's just not, it's not feasible. I really don't think it's going to work.
Where does that money come from? You asked a rhetorical question. We know it's either the taxpayer
Yep.
or the Federal Reserve through printing up the money in which debases the dollars that existing people have. So someone's paying for it. It's not like the government is doing you a favor. They're just redistributing or reallocating dollars from one segment of the population or one segment of the economy to this segment.
Yeah.
And who's to say that's the best allocation of resources?
I agree with you. And,
philosophically and economically.
And at the end of the day, I mean, I just feel like, how many millions of dollars do they spend putting together these programs and then they fall flat on their face? I mean,
economic programs, it's like, go back to the Chinese. They used to have the 5-year plans. They never work.
Right. And
cannot centrally plan even the smallest aspects of the economy. And this is a very large thing to get involved in.
And we're not letting, these are just not the normal economic times now. And I feel like the more that we manipulate the markets, the interest rates, the worse off we are. We're coming up on a break. When we come back, I'm going to let you know why your home may not be selling in today's market. What's the one thing that you can do to get your home to sell tomorrow? When we come back, stay right there.